Hello YouTube. Today we're discussing evolving rep ranges again, but this time in the context of weight progression and weight jumps when it comes to actually gaining strength. So this is also going to serve as a video to conceptualize the idea of weight jumps and the weight you should be putting on the bar to progress, what is the most efficient, etc. Because it's something that doesn't require its own video in my opinion, and it makes much more sense if I can relate it to evolving rep ranges. So if you think about it, evolving rep ranges are extremely flexible and they can be represented in variable ways, especially if you also vary the sets. You might end up with a random suite of numbers that can be simple to double, to triple, to quadruple, etc. The amount of tonnage it's going to represent is going to be completely up to you, which also means that the way you manipulate the volume and intensity with the evolving rep range is going to eventually come up to how much weight do you put on the bar. Because if I tell you that your max reps is going to be 8 before you jump to another max rep that is going to be 4, that's your evolution, right? But what about the progression that leads you there? How much weight do you put on the bar? You were able to do 8 with 100 pounds. How much do you put on the bar to get 4? Well, that depends on you. It depends on the rest of your program. It depends on if you're a novice, a beginner, if you're advanced. All of these are going to have an impact. So in this video, I will not be giving you an answer because I don't have it. Instead, I'm going to give you a methodology to apply to make sure that you are actually doing things that is conducive to progress when using evolving rep range. You're also going to realize that some of the problems I'm going to discuss here also apply to static rep ranges, but are never really questioned. For example, the fact that a lot of the time, squat, weight, bench, deadlift, overhead press, all of these use the same type of weight progression with certain rep ranges, which makes no sense. You will not progress as fast on the deadlift as you do on the bench. You will not progress as fast on the overhead press as you do on the squat. This goes back to the video I made about 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 1 plate overhead press, 2 plates squat, 3 plates bench, 4 plates deadlift. And the reason why that standard doesn't make sense, the more you evolve. It's the same for the rep ranges. You cannot have a fixated amount of weight you put on the bar for every single lift. This only works for beginners who are doing starting strength or stuff like this. But you understand that even for them, it's not optimal. It's just convenient. They can do it, so they do. When I started lifting and I started doing something that was actually making me progress in strength, I would take jumps in weights that were 10 pounds, which when you think about it is insane. I would put 10 pounds on each side. So I would PR 20 pounds for my rep work. Of course, it didn't last a long time. But when I started stalling, it took me forever to realize that I was actually putting way too much on the bar. It's funny to say it now because now it seems so obvious, but I know that for a lot of people it's not. So as far as your evolving rep ranges go, you have many options. I would advise you to not go down to micro plates or fraction plates. Unless you're really advanced and it's the only way you can milk any tiny amount of progress you can make, stick to 2.5 plates on each side at a minimum. This is the minimum threshold you're going to allow yourself. As far as maximum goes, I'm not going to give you a maximum. I mean, if you can put 25-pound plates on the bar and still make progress, then all the more power to you. I don't think it's really realistic once you're intermediate. So the realistic range is going to be 2.5 pounds to 10 pounds. This is what is the range I'm going to use. I personally use either 2.5s or 5s. That's all I use to slap on the bar. My rule is 5 pounds per hand. So if I do a bench, 5 pounds per hand, so I put 5 on each side. If I do a one hand barbell hold, 5 pounds per hand, so it's one hand on the barbell, 2.5 on each side. Same logic for a dumbbell. The only lifts where I don't do that is curls and overhead press, because I just cannot progress like this. 5 pounds on each side is too much. It's proven to be too much, and it just made me regress in strength. But that's what I did. And of course, Whether you decide on a 2.5, a 5, or a 10 is going to depend on how you set up your evolving rep range. So for example, for me, because I focus on higher rep ranges and I keep pushing the volume as the rep range evolves and not the intensity as much, I'm going to be able to go with a 5 on each side. I'm not going to be able to go with a 10. Example, on the deadlift, I do 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 5, 3, 2. Meaning that if I can get 5 reps, then 4 reps, then 3 reps with a given weight, next week I'm going to get 2 reps with the same weight plus 10 pounds. If I changed the rep range and I did, for example, something that would be much more focused on volume, where I would go up and do maybe 6, then 7, 6, then 8, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, all the way up to maybe 10, 10, 8, 7, something like this. I would not be able to put the same weight on the bar because as I go all the way down to 6, I don't think it's going to be a relationship that is going to work anymore. I might have to go down to 2.5s. Why? Because the amount of tonnage I get per set might not at the end make up enough of a tonnage jump that I will be safely able to go into the next evolution where I go down in reps with that much more weight on the bar. And the opposite is also true. Let's say I did evolving rep range that is much more focused on intensity and much tighter. So for example, I did 1, then 2, 1, then 3, 2, 1. The progress might be tougher on this one. It might be a harder sell. I might have to do more variation and more pull from the floor with a lower intensity. But when I actually progress, when I go from the 3 rep max to the 1 rep max, I might be able to put 10s. It all depends on your ability to progress. Understand also that what I describe here is the way my body reacts to those rep ranges. Your body might do something completely different. So in a way, this video is basically my way of telling you that evolving rep ranges are going to be what you make of them. I use them for hypertrophy. I've detailed how I use them for hypertrophy. But at the end of the day, it's the way I do them myself. Other people have come up with different systems, like the rep goal system, that still have the same goals, but that are adjusted differently and still produce results. But keep that in mind. The weight you slap on the bar is going to have to be taken into account even before you decide the evolving rep range. And you can experiment with it, right? Just if you try an evolving rep range and you realize that your weight scheme and the progression of the weight on the bar does not correlate, you can either change the way you progress with the plates or you can change the evolving rep range. The two are flexible, they can be modified. But to make the best out of the evolving rep range, you're going to have to come to a point where you're stable. If you find that using the same evolving rep range forces you to change the way you progress with the plates on the bar, it might be that the evolving rep range is too wide. So you've embraced too much of an intensity window, the volume might be all over the place, and that's not good. I detailed that in previous videos. Evolving rep ranges are flexible and they offer a lot of freedom, yes, but they should also be quarantined between certain brackets so that they can still promote progression. So this is one of the last videos I make about evolving rep ranges. I might make a big Q&A at the end. So if you have questions about it, please let me know. I will answer them, and I'll see you soon.